Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
George, let's jump right into it this weekend because the headlines are heavy right now.
Yeah.
And there is so much going on that I'm guilty of it. I know you're guilty of it. I get up in the morning and I doom scroll, which is such a bad habit. But it just seems like every day there's something else. The conflict in Iran right now. What's going on with the TSA agents? You're just trying to travel with your family.
Disgusting.
It seems with everything going on with ICE and immigration and the SAVE Act. And, not to mention, I think Republicans and Democrats hate each other now more than ever. George, I'm to the point now where I'm just like, I just want to retire and just leave me alone. But I need to know, can I get to that point? So the families you serve, with all this noise, these headlines in our face so much, what are you telling the families you serve?
Mark, people are really scared right now. Mm-hmm. They're concerned. Like you said, we have the war in Iran, which, whichever way you look at this, I think the last week, some information came out that kind of says we're doing the right thing with the capabilities they have, the long-range missiles, the nuclear capabilities they're building. Our government doesn't really care about people anymore, in my opinion. You have the Republicans and Democrats who are like a divorced mom and dad.
Yeah.
Right? And who's the kid in the middle getting abused? The American citizens. I look at these people at the airport, and Jared was supposed to travel this past week, coming down to see you all down in Atlanta, and he canceled the trip. He goes, Dad, I don't know how long the line's going to be. Mm-hmm. And Atlanta is a zoo with the airport so big that we canceled this trip because these people are working for free.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. I just hear they're working for free. It's scary. So people are scared about retirement, Mark. They don't know what to do. Do you just sit there and sit on your hands and wait? And I got to be honest with you. I played football all through high school and college. The one thing I learned when practicing football was you never walk on the field. If you did, I was always taught, if you don't know where you're to go or what you're to do, stop, raise your hand, and the expert, who's the coach, is going to come over and take you by the hand and yell at you and get you to where you have to be. That's the same thing right now. Folks, if you're sitting on your hands worrying about what do I do? Should I ride it out? Should I just sit here and do nothing? Nothing, unfortunately, will kill you.
Yeah.
Not kill you, but it hurts terribly. You need to raise your hand. Pick up the phone and call us at 302-330-2166 and let me pull you to where you need to go. Let's get the information. Let's see what's happening because it's scary right now. It's scary. We had a seminar a couple weeks ago over in Salem Community College in southern New Jersey. Turned out to be a great day. We just did one night event, and it was a fantastic educational seminar. We had lots of appointments scheduled, and the one couple, and their name is Dee and Dave, came over to the office here in Wilmington. And Dee couldn't make it. She's still working, and Dave's schedule allowed for him to come. So he came in, we sat down, and we went through everything. We did tax strategies, talked about that, retirement planning, and he has a couple IRAs, 401k spread out. We agreed to move one and put it someplace safe because he was worried about the markets, worried about what's going to happen. The world's going to heck in a handbag, my mom would tell me, but what to do? He says, I just want to talk to Dee about it, George. Make sure she agrees. I know she'll agree with whatever I say, but I want to make sure. So he did.
It's a smart man, by the way.
Smart man. Happy wife, happy life. I ask Leslie every day what to do. So he talked. I called a few days later, and his answer to me was, George, I just lost like 7%. The market's down with my retirement account. I need to hold until I get back to where I was. And my answer is, Dave, let's think about this. You lost 7%. How much do you have to gain to get back to where you were? You have to double it, right? Roughly 14, 15 to break even. Well, he's not having that luck. He's waiting, holding on something with his hands under his lap, right? Holding his lap, thinking it's going to recuperate. That is a sign of a problem. Raise your hand and let's get this taken care of. I called him yesterday on Friday. We had the conversation, and he says, I'm still waiting. And my answer was, you're not waiting. You're protecting what you have right now. And by putting this into something we can never lose any money, putting a fixed index annuity, we're making up part of that retirement by giving you some of a bonus.
Right.
Getting you back to where you were so we can stop the bleeding. He's 63 years old. The bleeding has to stop, folks. Now, if his other 401k is still vested, we can maybe be a little bit more aggressive when it rebounds. but we need that safety net. What's really important at this time, especially this time, is having diversification, having money broken down where all your eggs aren't in one basket, right? I know Easter's coming up,
Yeah,
but not in one basket.
Right.
Having that diversification, having a safety net. So if the world goes a heck in a handbag, which the markets are down, we have world turbulence going on, oil prices rising, hopefully stabilizing. You need that safety net where I don't care anymore what happens to this because it can never go down. Then when the markets rebound, we can be a little bit more aggressive in those allocations with the other funds. And that's what they're doing now. That's what he agreed with, and that's what they're going to come in and take care of because it makes sense. Everything we talk about is sleeping good at night. How you can go to bed and wonder, I don't know about you folks. I know Mark and I are big guys, right?
Yep.
We're both chubby lubs.
as my daughter calls me, I'm marshmallow fluff.
And that's being very generous there. I have a different name for you. But when you get agita, where your stomach's turning, you're concerned, you don't sleep well. You don't sleep well, you're moody in the morning, you're a little bit nastier towards your spouse, work, all those things build up. By having something that gives you stability, having something that gives you safety, makes us sleep better, gets us calmer. Think about this. You have your 401k, it's in the stock market. It's volatile, goes up and goes down. Right now it's taking a beating. You have that safe money in your savings account, like liquid cash available. I call it your Certa sleeper number. It lets you sleep at night. Maybe it's enough money to fix your hot water heater. Or maybe it's enough to repair the roof if your sons or daughters call and say, Dad, I need help.
Right.
And then you have a third avenue, which is your fixed index annuities, where you have safety, you have security, and you don't worry about what happens tomorrow. If the market's up, all three of those investments are up, you're really happy. But if it's not, and it is like right now where that one market's down, where two of your three accounts are safe, insured, and secured, you're sleeping pretty good still, aren't you? Mm-hmm. You're still happy. You still don't have as much agita. You still get to be a little bit at peace. That's what we help you with every day at Betrayal Wealth Group. Call us at 302-330-2166. Let's get that sleep back in line. Let's make sure you can be comfortable.
It's all about preserving your assets and building income through retirement. That initial consultation, it's the Family First Retirement Plan from George Politarhos. No cost, no obligation. 302-330-2166. Again, 302-330-2166. PatriaWealth.com, P-A-T-R-I-A, wealth.com. As we're talking about the market, you would think in a time of so much geopolitical noise in our face, you would think the market would be in a rough place, but we're still in a bull market, George. And it's not concerning. It's a good thing, but it's not going to last forever.
I don't think it's realistic. Nothing lasts forever. We're now in a 16-year high of the bull market. Mm-hmm. The average bull market goes 7 to 9 years, so we've doubled it. We've had some corrections that we're in right now coming down, but when's the correction going to occur? Is it going to be next month? 6 months next year? I have no idea. But guess what, folks? No one else does either.
Yeah.
When we talk about this, we talk about the safety involved, the mix of having the right retirement portfolio. Do you put all your money underneath your mattress? Of course not. That's stupid. And if someone tells you to do that, they're lying to you and misleading you. I'm just putting it out there. Do you leave all your money in the market fully exposed?
Nope.
Of course not. If they're telling you that, they're lying to you. 'Cause you know why they're saying that part to you? Because they get paid a commission every month on that money. You make money, great, pay me. You lose money, great, pay me. It's like Goodfellas. When they loan money in the movie Goodfellas, it says, I don't care if you lose money, I want my money.
Yep.
That's the way that wealth management team works. Mm-hmm. But having the mix really helps, especially when we talk about retirees. Because think about this. When you're working, actively working in that 40, 50, 60 age group, right? You're working, you get a paycheck every other week. You're contributing to your 401k every other week. When the markets go down, you're upset, but it's kind of good because you're cost averaging. You're buying the value at a lower cost. When you retire, you're not cost averaging anymore, are you? You're taking the hit. You're going down. You're not buying in because you're not working. You're not putting money in. So you're losing cash. By having a fixed index annuity, how we work it, how we propose it is that You have your assets under management, your aggressive money, the money that you're sitting there and you're in the market, going up and going down, ebb and flow of the environment, actively managed. We're looking at it every day. Achilles handles that in the office every day. And then you have your safe money, your indexed annuity. Every year, we're going to get out of that annuity as quickly as possible. So every year, we're going to pull our 10% free withdrawal out of that account and put it back into the assets. Because what are you doing now? Cost averaging. You're buying at the right times. You're taking advantage of the market. You're getting value for your money. This is about planning for your future, folks. Call me at 302-330-2166, and let's have a plan, a strategy to get ready. Because the good news is you're living longer. The bad news is we're living longer. We need this money to go out that way. You need to be able to do things and be comfortable. 302-330-2166.
You made a comment before we got started this weekend, as we're going to talk about pensions here for a couple seconds, that there are studies that show that adults that have a pension, they're living longer than adults that don't have a pension. George, we were just talking about fake news. That sounds like fake news.
Well, it's not AI generated. It's George and the team at Betrayal Wealth talking about, because it's facts.
Right.
Think about this. 1980,
Okay.
81% of the population had a pension. Wow. So I stopped working. I turned my paperwork in. I got a check starting the next month from my company I worked at. And then I got a check from Social Security the next month. Wow. My bills were paid. I got to play with my savings and do with it what I wanted. Today, unless you're a federal employee or a state employee, 14% of the population has a pension. I have Social Security. Social Security is a little bit question marks about Social Security. Yep. Do I worry about how I'm going to keep feeding my family and living my life? Because you worked 90,000 hours, right, folks? Yep. About 30, 40 years. 90,000 hours you worked. You get to the point now where you want to enjoy life. So which account do I pull out of? Where's the cash flow coming? My income strategy. How am I doing this? Market's down. Goodness, I can't touch this. I need to use my annuity, which is great. Mm-hmm. That's the number one thing keeping people up at night. We talk about the Certus sleeper number.
Yep.
Having the right allocations. Having a paycheck come in every month, along with your Social Security, increases your longevity because you have less fears about not knowing. Mm-hmm. You got used to paying paperwork. We're animals. We're muscle memory. You know, I get paid every other Friday. For 40 years, every other Friday I got my check. Your retirement. So my birthday's on the 14th, so my check from Social Security comes on the second Wednesday of the month. Do I pull out of the assets? How do I fund the other monies? Because you want to be in that same muscle memory, right? Mm-hmm. Where I get a check every other week. A pension, lifetime income. You live to be 100, folks. God bless you. You never run out of money. That gives us relaxation. Call me at 302-330-2166, and let's see how that's going to affect your lifestyle. We had a lady come in, and she's Susan. She's retired. She's a widow. How am I going to fund this, George? How am I going to live? And she saved money in her 401k. She did a great job. She got rid of her bills. She did a great job. Now it's one less thing she worries about. Her big concerns now are how she's going to travel, where's she going to go, and how her grandkids are going to sleep over 3 nights a week. That's a great problem to have, Mark. Mm-hmm. I want that problem. And having a pension, having that lifetime income is a great way to get there. Plus, with these lifetime incomes, there's other bonuses for you. So God forbid you go into you have long-term care situation, we can get extra money funded for it too. Give us a call. Let's see if they work for you. 302-330-2166.
You know, my grandfather had a pension. My dad had a pension. And like you just mentioned earlier, pretty much the only people I know that have pensions now are teachers, are federal workers. Do you think, and just kind of educate me a little bit on that one, is it because it's just not cost effective for an employer?
You're a lifetime employee.
Yeah.
You know, you worked at GM or Chrysler for 30 years, 90,000 hours, right? You're an employee. You retired, and now they're obligated to keep paying you for another 30 years. And if you set up the right way, take the right option, maybe your spouse also. So I die in 10 years after working. I get hit by a bus. My wife, Leslie, would get the check continuation. And Leslie has that longevity gene where she's going to live to be 95, 100. They're going to pay a lot of money out. It puts them in a position because let's think about this. These companies had themselves in a knot. In the 80s, you had a pension. So if you lived longer than they think you should have lived, they planned on you living, who's responsible to make that money last that time?
They are.
Well, they were responsible. Yeah, they're on the hook. If the markets went down and the values of the accounts went down and decreased, who's responsible to make that money right?
They are.
They are.
Yeah.
They're on the hook again. So they invented and they brought out the 401k. The 401k, the 403b, the thrift savings plan, the 457. And they said this was the greatest invention in the world. This is better than sliced bread because it's your money. So you can move it out when you're 59. If you can take it with you, you can do anything you want to. You can invest it how you want to. It's great. But now what happens if you live longer than you planned on living? Who's responsible to make up the money? You are.
Yep.
What if you weren't a good steward of your funds? And you made some bad investment choices, didn't think, didn't pay attention. Who's responsible to cover that? You are. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. That's the reason they don't want you to have this. They want you to sit there because you're doing something that you never trained for, you're not prepared for, nor do you have the desire to do. Most of us, Mark, want to get up, eat our breakfast, play golf, work in the garden, and have a great time and let it be what it be because it's taken care of.
That's right.
Now you got to work at it. You retire from a job, 90,000 hours, to start managing another thing for another 30 years. Mm-hmm. You may have to go on vacation. What happens if something happens while I'm on vacation? Holy cow. It's concerns. That's why companies got out of that business. They didn't want you to be a lifetime employee. They wanted you to take responsibility. And I like the opportunity for responsibility.
Yeah.
I like that. It's my money, my choices, my decisions. When you come into Portrayal Wealth, I'm going to tell you that. Just so you know, folks, we're going to talk and put plans together. And I'm going to say, this money is yours.
Right.
The choices you're making are yours. Decisions are yours. I'm just guiding you and helping you execute these plans.
But in its most simplistic form, George, an annuity can replace that pension that may not be available to the general public anymore.
That's exactly what we use them for.
Yeah.
Not with all your money, but with some of it, because I want to set that income up. I want you to be able to do those things you always planned on doing without the fear of what happens tomorrow. Most of us, I think, pretty much worry about our spouses.
Yep.
I do. I think most people think about that. This sets up our spouse not to be like my mom and dad, have that problem where they didn't have the money, to be in a better place for tomorrow. Using an annuity can help us accomplish that. But can I preface one statement, Mark?
Please do.
Annuities, FIAs, are not for all your money, okay? It's a mix, please. If anyone tells you put everything in this basket here of annuities, folks, they're misleading you. You need to have diversification. You need some risk, and we'll help you do that too.
Insurance and annuities offered through George Politarhos, Delaware Insurance License Number 1373121. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.